Aren't I afraid that voicing opinions about literature online will make it more difficult for me to get my own book published? So, yes, I am afraid of that. But I also just find the entire thing extremely frustrating. I do actually usually avoid voicing my opinion about certain things online. I hardly ever give negative book reviews. If I read a book that I don't like, I usually just don't talk about it. For that exact reason, we have entered this era where authors are not allowed to actually have opinions about literature, which is ridiculous because aren't authors the ones who are qualified to have these opinions? Not the only ones. I don't think critics have to be authors, but they can be both. Authors used to also be literary critics. Authors would review other works, and that was considered okay. But now we've entered into this era where you just have to pretend to like everything, which I find really frustrating, but I try to comply with it. I have given a handful of negative reviews, but usually I don't. But what really frustrates me is that it has gone even farther than that. It's not just that you're not allowed to give a negative review of a specific book. People seem to think that you shouldn't talk about fiction even on a broad level. If I talk about tropes that I don't like, or if I talk about world building techniques that I think are lazy or don't work well, people get offended as if I am personally insulting them and their writing. And I feel like that's just taking it way too far. Authors should have opinions about these things. If I say that I think that dream sequences used for exposition are really sloppy and hackneyed, that doesn't mean I am insulting your particular book. If you used a dream sequence for exposition, hopefully you considered these things and did it in such a way that wasn't hackneyed. And you should feel good about that. You should hear my criticism and think, any trope can be well executed, and I executed this trope well. You shouldn't think that you're being personally attacked. Anyway, I am not going to stop talking about what I like and dislike in books. As I said, I tend to avoid giving negative reviews of books because I do want to get my book published, and I know that that would be a barrier. But I'm not going to stop talking about fiction more broadly.